let's go to our first company, which is Discgenics. Discgenics is a privately held clinical stage biopharma company focused on developing regenerative cell-based therapies that address degenerative diseases of the spine. If you're like me, the older I get, the more this kind of technology is important to me. Here to present for Discgenics is Bob Wynalek, the company's Chief Operating Officer, Chief Commercial Officer, and Board Director. Bob is a medical device and biopharma entrepreneur with 35 years of experience in the regenerative medicine, spine, neurological, and orthopedic markets. He has successfully built and rebuilt early-stage organizations. So with that, we'll welcome Bob to the stage, and Bob, it's all yours.
A quick thanks to Calvin Bio Utah for including us, and I'm going to provide quite a few things in a short period of time. We are a regenerative medicine company, so we're going down a drug biologic pathway, so success and end goal is more of a marathon than a sprint as in device and some other areas, so I'm going to go through a lot quickly here. I'm proud to be part of a very talented team. This is our overall board leadership. So I have some great teammates here, and we have 44 other staff employees, all committed to our mission, which is really helping millions of people that suffer from debilitating chronic low back pain, degenerative disc disease. Quick highlights on the company, who we are. We're a clinical stage biopharma company developing what we call IDCT, injectable disc cell therapy. The non-proprietary drug name that you hear when you hear those funny names on TV is ribonucleocel, so that's for rebuild the nucleus pulposus with a stem cell, and that's exactly what this therapy does. Our target population is approximately 2.5 million in the US. This basically is a blockbuster potential drug therapy to treat a mass population with a serious condition. We've just completed a phase 1/2 study last year in the US where we've shown compelling data, regenerative capacity, and the potential to really treat the underlying pathophysiology of the disc from a biologic standpoint. We're also proud to have received the RMAT Medicine Advanced Therapy designation from the FDA in January of this year, and we hope that this is going to help us get through our final pivotal study in a more expeditious manner. We also have built a GMP manufacturing facility out in the International Center near the airport to help us go through our final clinical production into commercialization. We have a vast patent family, 3 different patent families that includes 33 issued, 26 pending patents, and multiple trade secret protections. And we have a de-risk pathway into a phase 3 and into our commercialization. As I mentioned, vast market in the US. It's the leading cause of disability worldwide. Calvin was mentioning, I think, something about your back, Calvin. Maybe we'll get you in the next trial. It's the leading cause of disability worldwide. And the cost of the US healthcare system, $100 billion. That's not just in costs of treatment modalities, but lost productivity and wages that's out there. And it's the primary reason for non-cancer opioid prescriptions. And that's one reason why the FDA was looking very carefully at our therapy, because with so many prescriptions for back pain, this has the prospect to really reduce that. What we essentially do is regenerate the disc from the inside out. This is an injection, so this isn't surgery. In the mild to moderate phase, when a patient is diagnosed, they would go to a treatment room. This could be in a pain center, integrated spine center, outpatient center, on a spine table with the C-arm. They place the needle, inject it, and there's no post-op bracing or anything for the patient. And we saw in our trial, as soon as the very first follow-up point, rapid improvements taking place across the patients. So this is an IND-allowed trial we did. Within our phase 1/2 study, we saw rapid, durable, statistically significant improvements across every single patient-reported outcome measurement. And this was inclusive of pain, disability, quality of life improvements, And then for restorative, we saw statistically significant improvements in the volume of the disc, which is indicative of restorative improvement taking place in there. And this was durable out to 2 years. We saw no serious treatment emergent adverse events, nothing that would hold up the studies. And where the IDCT fits is it's disrupted this mild to moderate phase where there's all these non-regenerative treatments going on. And the end stage that we also can potentially disrupt is the need for a spinal fusion procedure as the disease state progresses. We are going to have additional future products to further cover modalities of the spine after our lumbar clearance. Therapeutic engine is the Discgenics cells. These are specialized engineered stem cells derived from the disc tissue. It takes 2 weeks to produce a dose of these. They're non-toxic. They can go into any patient. They have 2 modes of action. They generate extracellular matrix that builds new tissue, as well as new proteoglycans within the disc. They also have anti-inflammatory impact. Now what I'm going to share is kind of what the company has achieved and how we've handled fundraising and execution through our journey to date. So far we've achieved mid-clinical phase, and we're in discussions with the FDA on our final pivotal study, and this will help define our timeline to revenue. We've completed translation from research through the preclinical phase into this regulator-allowed clinical phase in US and Japan. We've been very careful to raise and deploy capital in a way that has enabled us to contain the amount of money raised, that be adequate for our needs, at the same time control dilution for our shareholders, and build the value of the company. We've also thoughtfully leveraged synergies with industry stakeholders. We've become involved with advocacy organizations, Alliance Regenerative Medicine, BioUtah, partnered with subject matter experts where we don't have the internal knowledge, and also try to keep a positive interaction going at all times with the regulators in the US and Japan. Our Series A was our preclinical phase. We originally started in Memphis. We moved it out here at the completion of our research phase. We went to GoEd, and they helped us partner. We were able to develop a partnership with the U. We can't thank the U enough, and Jan Pierce over at the Cell Therapy Regen Med Group. We were able to co-locate, share space, utilize lab spaces, and they helped produce our clinical doses for our initial trials there. So it worked out great. We were there for 7 years. We outgrew our space, so we started looking for a cost-effective space where we could build out our own commercial manufacturing and do it in a cost-effective manner. So we located a new space, and then we successfully submitted our IND and received that in June of 2017 to start our trial. Series B really got us into our early clinical phase. We raised $14 million that we closed in September 2017. And we were able to successfully enroll our first and close out enrollment in our US clinical trial literally right before COVID broke. So we're very fortunate on the timing of that one to be able to complete the trial when we did. In 2018, later in the year, we received our CTN, which is basically the IND to start our trial in Japan. We were able to find and select a cost-effective facility that would allow us to expand our operations. So we were very careful not to invest a lot in any fancy space, but really put it into very functional space and put the value into the manufacturing that had to be GMP compliant. So we also were granted fast track designation in August of 2019. Series C really helped us for the early clinical phase and facility completion. We raised $50 million in the Series C, and we brought in institutional investors into the round. We completed that in August of 2020. We were very careful with those funds to wait until we had the interim 1-year data from our US clinical trial before we made further investment in the finalization of the facility, and into 2021 when we ordered in process equipment and final utilities to go into the manufacturing part of our facility. This quarter, we've completed the final build-out. We were installing the process equipment and going through the validation and commissioning that you have to do for a GMP process in advance of runs later on this year. We announced earlier this year some press releases, positive data from our 2-year US trial, and also announcement on receiving the RMAT designation from the FDA, which happened in January also. This is our GMP manufacturing facility. We're co-located on the campus with Biomerics out at the International Center. It's 25,000 square feet, 17,000 of that is manufacturing, high classification clean rooms because we're doing aseptic GMP processing. We have within this facility the ability to scale out to 5 years post-launch. with sufficient capacity. So, we have plenty of runway. And this is an image here. This used to be an old compact chip manufacturing facility, so we had to demo the manufacturing space. Very extensive HVAC for this type of classification. Clean rooms went in, and here's our team using some of that space earlier this year to do some process runs. Right now, we're doing a Series D, which is a late clinical phase round. So we're raising 80 to 95 million in the Series D, inclusive of a convertible note to current shareholders. This is serving for us as a crossover round. So we planned one of the options is an IPO when the market is in the right condition for that. So we're looking to see what happens later this year, early next year. That's one of our options. We're leveraging data that's successful from our 2 studies to engage more strategic institutional investors to support this late phase into commercialization. We're right now completing our initial commercialization plan. So we've put together a plan that goes out 5 years beyond our initial commercial launch, so that puts accuracy in our budget and also ties to our revenue targets and also our valuation model. So we've got a good roadmap for investors on that one. And also we intend to ensure that we have sufficient dose production that's opportunistic. We do have the opportunity with this RMAT designation to possibly get accelerated pathway in the US, also in Japan. So we want to be ready to pivot and have doses ready to leverage that opportunity. And then the big thing is engaging with the regulators right now to facilitate efficient and proper planning of our studies with the ability to roll out into acceleration as we're able to work that out. Ultimately, what success means for Discgenics is that we'll be treating patients, these millions of people out there that are suffering from this chronic back pain, providing societal benefits through treating those patients, and really delivering successful returns to our shareholders that have been loyal and participated with us along this journey. So with that, I want to thank you. And Kelvin, I don't know if we have any time for questions, but hopefully that was helpful to some of you out there.
Have a question for Bob? Paul?
So this is an allogeneic therapy. Are the cells staying around, or are you getting a therapeutic benefit from putting the cells in? How are you protecting your immune system?
So it's a couple of things on that. Basically, you're looking at, do these cells, do they contribute to an immune response, and how long are they there? So these cells basically do not produce an immune response. So I'll give you one example. We used all human cells in our animal models with zero immune suppression. Because these are a progenitor, so they're a partially differentiated stem cell, they give off anti-inflammatory cytokines, so they immunomodulate. So they don't cause any issues with that. We've had 100 people in our trials, 0 issues related to that, as well as hundreds and hundreds of animals used in the studies. And we've seen these cells do not persist more than about 8 weeks. So they go in there and they dump the extracellular matrix, they dump the cytokines, they do their magic, and they go away.
Okay, let's give Bob a round of applause. Oh, yeah, there's one question right over here.
Yeah, so with this initial BLA clearance, we're clearing the Discgenics cell. So we have a platform of 5 different follow-on products that utilize that. So we're going to have a therapy for cervical degeneration. We're going to have one for thoracic. We're also going to have a product for post-discectomy. We also are involved with a project to produce a biologic artificial disc, which has shown some promise in our initial development. And then within our patent families, we also have applications of using this culture process in other areas of musculoskeletal. Okay?
Let's give Bob a round of applause.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Well done.